Today is one of the best Fridays I've had in a long time. It's one of the best Fridays I've had in a long time. And I haven't really done anything today. It's just the idea that I can wake up tomorrow and know that it's game day for UW football has me hyped the F up. I mean, I am as ecstatic as it gets right now because, ladies and gentlemen, UW football is back. Welcome to episode 6 of the VinDawg Pod. And wow, I'm excited. I don't have a super long episode for you guys today because, I'm more worried about what's gonna happen this first game to have an idea of how the rest of the year is gonna go. So right now, I'm a little nervous. Making this podcast happen. Let me just do a rundown for you guys. So, of course, we got a weekly update happening. I'll go over like UW Athletics, some of the scores, upcoming UW Athletic schedule. I'll talk about how college football is back, some of those games, all that stuff. And then we'll do a nice little week 1 rundown. UW versus Boise State, of course. We're going to get all into it. I'm going to give you my prediction, my scores, my what to expect, everything. I will give you everything. And then, of course, I'm going to do a betting segment. I had a terrible week last week, actually. Terrible. Abysmal. But that's not really a problem. We're gonna tell y'all how we're gonna figure that out this week. Anyway, let's get into it. Episode 6, VinDawg Pod. I am ready to go. UW Athletics score update. Let's get right into it. The Huskies had a good week. Not a great week, but a good week. First and foremost, volleyball lost to UTEP last week, but they did defeat Southeast Louisiana 3-1, and then they defeated Grambling State 3-0. That's a big time win for them. Women's soccer defeated San Diego 5-0 on Sunday, and they had everybody contributing. They had goals from Tatum Thomason, Radisson Banks, who's now scored 2, Anna Menti, Iana Papatheodou, and if I say that wrong, I apologize. That's a very tough last name for me to get, and you know how I've been with these last names. And Kalia Elschenberger. Big time 5-0 victory against San Diego. Unfortunately, the men's team could not quite do what the women's team did. Men's soccer, despite being ranked 6th in the nation, falls to unranked San Diego 2-0 on Sunday. Not good. I think they dropped all the way down to 22 now. Thing is, they'll be fine. I mean, they're literally, there's a reason they were preseason number 16. They're going to be fine. But this is a big wake-up call, and it's a wake-up call that you really have to climb out of the gutter to fix the season on. Because you do not want to lose to an unranked San Diego, this early in the year. So, I'm not worried. I think they'll figure it out, but it is a tough loss for them. Women's soccer ended up playing Yale on Thursday, and I love the women's soccer ability to score on these set pieces, to make set pieces happen. Down 1-0 at the half, women's soccer comes back and defeats Yale 2-1. Corner kicks made things happen for them. They got second half goals from Thomason and Papatheodou. Again, if I'm saying that terribly wrong, I apologize. I don't know how else you're supposed to say that. But, 70th minute winner from her, and that's going to make all the difference. You beat Yale. That's a big-time game. Women's soccer has all the momentum going for them right now. Very hyped up for those ladies. Upcoming UW athletic schedule. Tonight, Friday, men's soccer faces Indiana, and volleyball faces Long Beach State. UW football, believe it or not, guys, I don't know if you've heard, but UW football, the Huskies, will be facing Boise State tomorrow, Saturday, at the greatest setting in college football, Husky Stadium. To say that I'm excited is a little bit of an understatement, but that's fine. That is fine. We're just going to go right past it. We got women's soccer facing Cal State University Northridge. CSUN is what they call that. On Sunday, men's soccer and more Big Ten action. Shout out Big Ten, UW. Men's soccer faces Ohio State on the road Monday. And then there's a volleyball doubleheader versus UNLV and Memphis on Thursday. So that'll be very exciting. Now that I got UW sports out of the way, let's get into some college football action, guys. Oh, wow. So college football is back. One of the most exciting times of the year. In fact, I don't like the fall because that means, summer's over. It's time to go back to school. I'm graduating. This is the greatest time of the year for me. I'm no longer melting every time I go to bed. I can wake up and it's nice and cool and I can go to my couch and there's football on. I mean, this is the best time of the year if you ask me. So, college football's back. I could not be more excited. Unfortunately, the first game that we got to see was Notre Dame versus Navy, and it was a blowout. Notre Dame crushed Navy 42-3. Sam Hartman's the real deal. All right. Now I understand you're playing a Navy team that literally only runs the triple option. Like that is their play. It's like they're trying to complete a challenge on Madden 24. Like they are only running the triple option. The quarterback for Navy was 0 for 1 going into the fourth quarter on passes. You would think at some point, hey, let's practice throwing the football just in case our triple option package doesn't work at some point. You would think that. Unfortunately, that's not Navy's style. Navy got clobbered 42-3. Sam Hartman is the real deal. I mean, I know this guy led like every statistical category in the ACC. He was the man, but he comes to Notre Dame and he looks like that guy. Like he looks like I feel like Notre Dame has a chance against anyone. I know it's Navy, but he was dotting dudes up. He was making great plays. He was patient. Pressure didn't get to him. He just stood there. He was poised. He was calm. He was collected. He made big plays happen, and that's what you want out of a quarterback. So very excited to watch Notre Dame and Sam Hartman the rest of the year. I think Marcus Freeman is finally going to have a good year as head coach. USC beats San Jose State. It's not really a surprise. What was it? It was 56-28. I think USC doubled San Jose State's score. Caleb Williams, he just won the Heisman, so of course he's going to play incredible. He's playing San Jose State. Like, how impressive is that? That's up for interpretation. But that USC defense, we need to talk about that. They really struggled a little bit. I mean, you don't give up 28 points to San Jose State when you consider yourself a national title contender. I mean, Notre Dame won 42-3 against Navy. And I feel like if Navy plays San Jose State, Navy can win that game. Right? That's the difference right there. That's the difference. USC's out here giving up 28 to San Jose State, including, and this was a close game through the first half. They gave up a last-second touchdown, or last-moment touchdown in the end of the first half. And in close games like that, you cannot make those mistakes. If you're a defensive coordinator, if you're a team, you have to understand 2-minute drill, no matter the situation, is important. And if you're going to give up a bomb touchdown in a 2-minute drill, that is terrible defense. USC has a lot to figure out. I'm excited to see if they do figure it out, but that was not a good start for them. But of course, I mean, when the offense is as explosive as it is, you get some leeway on defense. But, we'll see if they figure that out. UMass clobbers New Mexico State 41-30. And I say clobber. I know it was an only 11-point win, but they were up 34-17 like late into the fourth. And then, gave up some more points. But the reality is like, that was a clobbering. UMass looked fantastic. I thought New Mexico State was going to win that game. Obviously, we'll get into that later. UMass looked like a real deal, so I'm excited for next week's matchup. We're gonna talk about that later as well. San Diego State University wins 20-13 over Ohio. Now this game sucked. This game sucked not that it sucked like quality-wise, but it really sucked to watch because there was so much excitement about Ohio's quarterback finally coming off injury. He's probably one of the best group of 5 quarterbacks that they had out there. And he just gets injured with a leg injury. again here, week 0. A week 0 injury that hurt. That's really tough. So you can't really blame Ohio for losing that game, but that's just heartbreaking. That really is a big wrench on the season. So, hoping he'll be okay, but tough loss for them. Utah defeats Florida 24-11. Now, it was a clobber. Utah dominated Florida. They were up 24-3 late. Florida got this touchdown where the dude mossed him, and then Florida fans were out here acting like that was the play of the year or whatever. Shut up, guys. I'm sorry. It's so annoying when fan bases try to take these little moments in games and hype themselves up about it. You lost 24-11. You were down 24-3. You have no business to be talking right now. But whatever. I'd probably do the same thing if McMillan, had that catch against Oregon and we lost against Oregon. But that's the difference. We beat Oregon, so I can talk about it all we want. Utah looks really good. They did it all with their backup quarterback. I think that just shows you how committed this team is, how deep this team is. Utah is going to be a problem. I'm a little scared about that, especially since I got my UW hat, my UW backdrop. A little scared about that. Nebraska loses to Minnesota 13-10. This was heartbreaking to watch. Not because I'm a Nebraska fan, but Nebraska's up 10-3 late. They give up an absurd touchdown. I mean, the Minnesota guy, that might be a contention for catch of the year. The dude dragging his foot barely into the end zone, barely catching in the end zone on the corner. And Nebraska drives down the field and throws an interception. Minnesota gets a couple decent plays. They kick a long field goal, and they win 13-10 at home. Unbelievable start to Matt Rule's tenure. And it's exactly what I expected. I knew Matt Rule wasn't going to do jack, but that sucks. That's a very sucky loss. Let's go ahead and get into some big week 1 matchups, guys. Now that we're kind of done talking about week 0. Week 0 was fun, but it wasn't exhilarating. Week 1 is exhilarating. Right off the jump. They're going to give us college football, and they're going to give it to us with passion. I mean, let's get into it. Number 20, Oklahoma versus Arkansas State. That'll probably be a clobbering. But, that's still going to be a fun game. I'm curious to see how Oklahoma plays, especially after last year. Colorado versus number 17, TCU. This is going to be fun because TCU is a 20.5 point favorite, but I don't really understand why. There's a lot of talk about Colorado's going to be the 3rd worst team in the Pac-12. They're not going to be that good. Coach Prime can't just bring in a bunch of transfers. And those are things I've even said. I feel like people are going to be way in over their head trying to be that guy, and it's going to hold them back. But, I watched an Instagram Live from Travis Hunter, and he seemed incredibly confident about his abilities. The fact that they got 2 defensive backs that could very well be NFL caliber players, which is a big deal in college football. You have Shadir Sanders at quarterback. You have some good players in there. So 20.5 for TCU after they lost their quarterback, after they lost a lot of big guys. It seems a little bit big of a spread. So I'm really excited to watch that game. I'm excited to see just how impactful Coach Prime really is on that Colorado atmosphere. Number 3, Ohio State versus Indiana. This is going to be fun to watch because, obviously, the Marvin Harrison Jr., Heisman hype train is going crazy. And you don't see that very often out of a wide receiver, just a Heisman hype train. So I would love to see him just go out for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. How electric of a debut would that be for him? Also, Indiana is just a mess. Head coach is on the hot seat. They don't even know who they're starting at quarterback yet. I think it's going to be a clobbering, but I'm excited to kind of see that explosiveness from that offense, especially that receiving group. Number 10, Washington versus Boise State. I'm just excited to see some fun offense here. I think it's going to be high scoring. I think that, we're going to see, Michael Penix Jr., and we're going to talk about this, obviously, but this is the start of his Heisman campaign. He's not going into it I just need to do whatever I need to do, bare minimum to win this game. No, he's gonna be Boise's a good team. They're not ranked, but people give them respect. We're gonna come out firing. And I'm hoping that UW comes out firing, and I'm hoping that Boise does the same. I'm hoping this is going to be high scoring, an energetic game at Husky Stadium. We'll see what happens, but I'm very excited for that. USC continues their early gauntlet of a schedule by playing Nevada. I mean, come on. Come on, USC. Like, grow some kahunas. You know what I mean? Like, this is getting ridiculous. San Jose State, they struggled defensively, but their offense was electric. It's going to be the same exact game against Nevada. Like, it's going to be the same game. But, I mean, they got the Heisman winner on their team, so it's still going to be an entertaining game. Washington State University versus Colorado State. That is going to be fun, guys. I'm very excited for that because, I mean, Wazoo, I think, is like underrated. I think Cam Ward is that guy. And Colorado State kind of stinks. But I would love for this to be like a Wazoo's going to put themselves on the map type of game. And I think that that's what's going to happen. So I'm very excited to see that. North Carolina versus South Carolina. Wow. The funniest thing is that South Carolina is the favorite. So you have Drake May going up against Spencer Rattler, and I mean, I think UNC's like what, 22 or something like that, and South Carolina's unranked. This game's gonna be off the charts. Like, it's gonna be so fun. It's gonna be a quarterback battle. It's gonna be high scoring. One's gonna want to prove that they're better than the other. But I mean, the Drake May Heisman like hype has been going pretty loudly. So this is the must win for North Carolina. Like, they have to win this game to kind of show that, like, our quarterback should be in that conversation. But South Carolina's favored and at home. So I think it's going to be an electric game to watch. That's definitely a checked one on my calendar. Oregon State versus San Jose State. Now, y'all know I love Oregon State. I've already said that enough. I think one of the compelling things is that USC gave up 28 to San Jose State, and I don't think Oregon State can score the way USC can score, believe it or not. But I'm so excited to finally watch that run game in action. New quarterback. I'm excited to see what DJ does. I'm just so excited for this game. One of the biggest reasons I'm excited is because we get to see the dominance of that Oregon State defense, and we can compare it to that USC defense. USC gave up 28 points to San Jose State and made some big mistakes and big moments. What if Oregon State goes and shuts them out? What kind of statement would that be? Wow, USC, you can score points, but you give up points. We don't give up points. So I'm very excited because I think that this win could have a very telling like indication of what you expect the rest of the season, especially if Oregon State can perform well on offense. So better believe I'm watching that game. And then, of course, last but not least, LSU, number 5 LSU versus number 8 Florida State. The battle of the quarterback. Jaden Daniels and I can't remember his name right now, but I know it. It's gonna be electric. You got 2 Heisman contenders. Jordan Travis, guys. I don't know why. I had Jordan in my head, but whatever. Forgive me. Long day. Jaden Daniels, Jordan Travis, 2 very high quality players. Once again, a Heisman contender as well. But these 2 teams are also college football playoff expectation type team. So in week 1, we're already going to be spoiled to see one of these teams potentially lose. I'm excited. I'm very, very excited. Anyway, let's get into what the people are ready to listen to. Week 1, the Washington Huskies against the Boise State Broncos. Let me go over the point spread, over-under, and what to expect in this game. UW is a 14.5 point favorite. The over-under set at 58.5. Personally, I think the over is what you should expect more than the spread. We already know that this UW offense, especially against the Boise State team that probably is going to struggle against the deep ball, is going to be capable of putting up more than 35. I think 5 touchdowns is like a good minimum to set on UW in this offense, especially against a team like Boise State, which has offensive firepower, but struggles in that defensive back area. Boise State can make big plays to keep this game close, but will they get over 20 points? Who knows? I think they can. I think they can get to 21. I think they can get to 24 maybe. But I don't think they're going to be able to do enough to get past that. So my prediction, and this is funny that I say this prediction after saying that. I don't think they can get past 30 is what I meant to say. But my score prediction is that UW will win 41-27. I think that UW's going to have a similar start to the game that they did against Michigan State, where all of a sudden they're up 16-0. They score another touchdown at 23-0. Like, I think that you're going to see an explosive start like that. I think Michael Penix Jr. is going to throw for 3 touchdowns, and I think they're going to run in 2 touchdowns. Dylan Johnson might score. I think Penix could even run in 1 if he wants. I mean, I watched a highlight of his read option against Wazoo today, and I was like, that was smooth. And you would never even see it coming. So I wouldn't be surprised if Penix has 4 total touchdowns tomorrow. And by tomorrow, I mean Saturday, for those who, I think that Odunze and McMillan, Wilma Odunze and Jalen McMillan, will combine for 200-plus yards in that receiving back or in the receiving area. The reason is either of these guys can explode for 150 yards at any given moment. And against a struggling Boise State secondary that is susceptible to that deep pass, all it takes is one big 60-yard play and then, 40-something yards the rest of the game for one receiver and then a big game for the other guy to just easily hit that mark. So I'm expecting a big game out of those two combined. Taylon Green and George Holani. I heard that Holani might be splitting snaps with that running back room in Boise, but he had 1,100 yards last year. Like, he's gonna be, he's gonna get the ball. I think that offense can combine for 125 plus rushing yards. I think that Taylon Green's gonna have a Delora type game against us, where he gets 40 something rushing yards. He's gonna occasionally find a hole and make his way through. But I don't think it's anything too stressful to be worried about at that point. The biggest key is to protect Michael Penix Jr. and the results will come. You guys got to remember that Michael Penix Jr., when he was at Indiana, had 4 season-ending injuries. He comes to UW, and he is the second least sacked quarterback in all of college football. So protecting him is key, because if he's protected, he can stay healthy, and as long as he's healthy and as long as he has time to drop back, he has the most vicious spiral, the most vicious left-handed spiral you've ever seen, and he will make those plays. He will find those guys in the corners. He will make things happen. Protect Michael Penix Jr. at all costs. Let's go over a little bit of some depth chart news. So Parker Brailsford, he was named the starter at right guard. Pretty big time for a redshirt freshman. The interior offensive line is a very big concern for this team. So for the redshirt freshman to get that start, that's pretty promising. If he's really that guy for UW, he could be there for 4 years and just be a spearhead on offense and occasionally, eventually, make that big step to the big leagues. Denzel Boston, Jeremy Bernard, Tayshawn Lyon, those are all your backup wide receivers. The reason I mention how important they are, they're all speedy, and they all have that big play potential. That's super important in this UW offense. At any given time, you could have Odunze or McMillan or Polk come out of the game and just rest them or whatever. And all 3 of those guys are perfectly capable of going out and making a big play, a 60-yard touchdown, a 30-yard touchdown, a red zone threat. Anything can happen. I'm very excited to see what that offense is potentially capable of. Here's some UW prop plays that I really, really like here for this upcoming season. We're talking season props, guys. Michael Penix Jr., his yard total for the season, 3,750.5. If he doesn't get injured, he's slamming that over. He is slamming that over. Romo Odunze, 950.5 total receiving yards. He's going to have 1,300 yards this year. This is the Romo Odunze Biletnikoff year. Don't forget that. Slamming that over. Jalen McMillan, 900.5 total receiving yards. I think he's a 1,000-yard receiver, personally. But even if he's not, he's still going to have over 900. Of course, injuries are always the biggest factor in this kind of situation. But as long as they stay healthy and they're making those big plays, take those overs. Take those overs all day long. And the last prop I just love. Michael Penix Jr., 30.5 total passing touchdowns. He can explode for four. He's gonna have 4 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns today. We're playing Tulsa. He's gonna have 4 against Tulsa. He's gonna have 4 against Michigan State. He's gonna have 4 against Wazoo again. He's gonna have probably like 2 against Oregon, maybe 1 against Oregon State. When we play the Arizonas, he's gonna put up at least 6 combined. He's going to score these touchdowns. I think you take that prop bet way over. Here's what I think for tomorrow's game. There are 2 little things that I really like that I'm going to be watching closely, and I'm going to hope they happen. But the first of which, Jalen McMillan is going to score the first touchdown of the season for the Washington Huskies. I don't care how they do it. I don't care if it's a post route. I don't care if it's an out route, a corner route. Jalen McMillan is going to be that guy to get into the end zone first. UW scores on the first drive all the time. I think they're going to do it again against Boise. I think, they're at Husky Stadium. They're at the greatest setting in college football. They sold over 12,000 more tickets this year than they did in last year's season opener. They are going to put on a show for the fans. And they're going to show the fans that this is the national championship year. This is the Penix Heisman year. We're going to get McMillan in the end zone on the first drive. I also really like Braylon Trice and ZTF to each get a sack or a tackle for loss in today's game. I don't think the Boise State line is that great. I think that there's a reason that Taylon Green has to rely on his legs a lot. I think that they're either going to have tackle for loss. I think Braylon Trice is for sure going to get a sack. I think this is a statement year for Trice to try to put his name out there, get a potential top 15 pick in the draft. And I also just think that, I think this is going to be like a top 5 college football defensive season for Braylon Trice. I mean, that's just what I think. So that's kind of my rundown on what I'm looking forward to for this UW versus Boise State game. And I'm excited. I'm very excited to see what we might be getting out of that. Now we're gonna go in the last segment of the day, the betting segment. Bad week last week. Week 0, I shouldn't have done week 0. I should have just been like, we're gonna wait till week 1 because I went 1-4 to start the season. As you know, I took Navy plus 20.5. They lost 42-3. I didn't realize Sam Hartman was going to be this good, and I didn't realize that Navy was only going to run the triple option. So that's partially my fault. I should have known better. Now I know that I'm never betting on Navy again, and I'm going to start betting on Notre Dame more. I thought that Marcus Freeman just likes to mess up at the beginning of the year. Clearly not. So whatever. We're going to just ignore that even happened. USC and San Jose State slammed the over 66.5. That was the only one I got right, and I knew it was coming. We knew USC struggled on defense, but of course they scored on offense. USC won 56-28, slamming that over. Hawaii covered the 17.5 versus Vanderbilt, and I didn't think that was going to happen. I thought Vanderbilt was a little bit better, but Hawaii looked kind of good. They lost 28-35. They scored 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns to stay in it. I mean, Hawaii looked pretty good. I wouldn't be surprised if Hawaii beat Stanford. But whatever, win some, you lose some. But in this case, I guess win one, lose a lot. But whatever. UMass beats New Mexico State to go over the 45. I took the under. I'm never taking an under again, guys. That's my lesson learned. I'm never taking an under again. Because UMass alone got 41 points. It could have been 41-7, and they would have hit the over. Instead, it was 41-30. They scored 71, and I took under 45. What am I doing? What am I doing with that pick? So never again. The two teams combined, I think it was 28-20 in the fourth quarter. Scored 48 combined points. They hit the over. In one quarter. So that's never happening again. And then, last but not least, San Diego State defeats Ohio 20-13 to go under 48, and I took the over. I don't really blame myself for that one. I mean, I thought that the Ohio quarterback was going to keep him in the game, and he hurt his legs. So, win some, you lose some. That's okay. Here are my picks for week 1, and we're gonna come back. I got 6 picks this week, and I feel phenomenal about all of them. First pick, UW versus Boise State over 58.5. UW is capable of scoring 35 plus points easily, especially if they're home opener. They're gonna want to show out in front of their home fans. They're gonna score 35 plus points, and I think Boise is gonna score at least 21. Right? So let's say UW scores 40, 42. All you need is 17 from Boise, and that hits the over. So I think Boise's going to score more than 17. I think they'll score more than 20, but I just think the over is the best play there. Washington State versus Colorado State. Wazoo covers minus 10.5. I think Wazoo is so underrated for no reason right now. They got clobbered by UW and everyone forgot about them. No, they were up. Like they were consistently beating us. It just took the fact that we had Michael Penix and company to, blow right by them. I think that Wazoo is going to easily cover 10.5, and I would slam that if I'm you guys. Cam Ward's going to be even better this year. Colorado State was horrible last year. They were horrible. They're like the worst team in the nation. And we think that they're going to keep the game within 11 points? No, they're going to lose by 3 scores, and I have no doubt in my mind. Unless Wazoo cooks it, which they could very well do, but I don't think that's going to happen in this game specifically. North Carolina versus South Carolina over 63.5. Drake May plus Spencer Rattler equals 8 plus touchdowns. Now, I'm a communications major, not a math major, so, I don't know how accurate my addition and subtraction and multiplication is there, but I do know that this is going to be a shootout because you have 2 star quarterbacks with something to prove. You have a Drake May who needs to have a Heisman year, and you have a Spencer Rattler who's just been completely counted out after Oklahoma, who had a great year last year, who's going to be even better this year, and South Carolina's the favorite. I think this game goes over. I think each team scores at least 20-something, 28 maybe. And then next thing you know, it's going to be a 35-something game. And I think the winner is going to be determined by a field goal. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 37-34. That's my guess. USC versus Nevada over 65.5. Same rationale as last week. All right. USC is going to clobber them on offense. Caleb Williams is going to do what Caleb Williams does. He's going to score 49, 50 points. But this defense is so susceptible to giving up 20 points every week. They give up 28 to San Jose State. I almost think Nevada and San Jose State are like a 1-score difference. So let's give Nevada like 20 points. All right. I think that easily USC scores more than 45 points to overwhelm that 20 points from Nevada and hit that over. So that's what I'm rolling with. UMass versus Auburn over 51.5. I took the under last time. I'm flipping it. Auburn's a 35.5 point favorite. UMass scored 41 last game. Obviously, UMass is going to do what they did last week, but they show that they can score the rock. They can get the rock in the end zone. They're going to have at least 3 scores. They're going to at least put up 21-something points, and Auburn's a 35-point favorite. So Auburn's scoring at least 35 to 40 points. I think this game goes over 51.5. I think that even though Auburn's going to clobber them, UMass is going to get in the end zone. And then my last pick of the week, Ohio State versus Indiana. Ohio State covers by 30 points. Ohio State's better than ever. We already talked about how this is going to be the Marvin Harrison and Ibuka year. They're going to do incredible things together. Indiana's coach is on the hot seat. They don't even have a starting quarterback ready. They don't even know who they're starting. The offense might just be a flat-out dud. They might score 3 points. I could see Ohio State easily scoring 42. It might be an exact replica of that Notre Dame Navy game where it's 42-3. Not to mention, Ohio State won last year 56-14. And I think they might even do better than that. So, those are my picks right there. UW, Boise, over 58.5. Washington State, minus 10.5 against Colorado State. North Carolina, over 63.5 with South Carolina. USC, Nevada, over 65.5. UMass, Auburn, over 51.5. Ohio State, Indiana. Ohio State covered, -30. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all for this week's episode of the VinDawg Pod. I cannot wait to watch college football tomorrow. I'm sure you guys cannot wait either. I'm so excited to watch my dogs in action. And that'll be all. I cannot wait to talk to you guys next week. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful rest of your Friday. Peace out. No. No, don't tell me that. No, don't tell me that. So I just finished recording, and this popped up after 35 minutes. If I hit this OK button and that does not save, well,